start coding up a couple things in last minute that'll actually help contribute to Genius. And my buddy sitting here next to me, where he's helping me out with all that stuff. So yeah, we're in a quiet office, so it's all good.
I like that. I like that. The bounty program is always good, right? Just to ensure that the project goes smoothly, and if there is a problem, it can be found ahead of time. So I like that. So guys, so it's actually 2 minutes after. I'm gonna hit the record button and we get going. Okay.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a quick introduction. After that, I'm gonna ask you guys to introduce yourself, talk about your team, and just give us a bit of insight into your background and experience. Then after that, we can present the project however you want to present it. I like to go back and forth, but it's up to you.
Yeah, back and forth is perfect.
Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and give a quick introduction here. Let me. All right. Hey everyone, appreciate you all being here at USA Crypto Group for this AMS session with Genius AI. Genius AI is a revolutionary blockchain that harnesses the untapped computing power of devices worldwide to process artificial intelligence and machine learning data that can be utilized by businesses, games, and AI companies. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome Kenneth from the team. Pleasure to have you guys here. If you guys can start out introducing yourself, talking about your team, and give us a bit of insight into your background experience.
Yeah, sure. Cthulhu's joined here. He's helping. He's one of the founders that came on board not too long ago, but we've been working together for almost 2 years now, I guess. And I'm the main architect and coder for a long time on this. Been working on it since 2016. My background is I've worked for NVIDIA for 4 years, so I know GPUs inside and out. In fact, I taught a lot of game developers how to use the GPU back in 2000, 2003, between 1999 and 2003. I've worked at Electronic Arts twice. I have my own game company, and I have about 20, close to 20 games on my resume. If you look me up on Moby Games, you'll see them all there. I think there's a couple missing. And I worked for Google for 4 years and got up to speed on their cloud architecture, even though I had previously had experience with Amazon Web Services in their cloud. So I put all my servers onto Amazon Cloud back in 2013 and got up to speed on how architecture worked in the cloud architecture and how to scale. So that kind of all that game experience, the cloud experience architecture, and then the GPU experience that I've had rolls into kind of what this product is, which is the AI being used on the GPU and then payouts happening in games. So that's kind of my background. I know I forgot something, but long resume, but that's kind of basically me. Dave or Cthulhu, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I don't have that much of a resume to speak of. I've been in the crypto space since about 2020 when there was the entire COVID crash, and I told myself that was the perfect time to buy in for any kind of long vision trading or investing. And turns out I was very, very right. The Fed just started printing money and things went very well. I started working on crypto teams around the end of 2021, just as I was exiting some own positions. And I've been in crypto, DeFi space, multi-chain trading, building since then. But if you have any questions on sort of the experience and the technical competence related to building a distributed GPU system and using it for an AI/ML network, the man you should be asking is definitely Ken.
I appreciate the introduction there, Kenneth. Now, Kenneth, I know that you're the CEO. By the way, you have a very extensive background, and you're not lying when you say you have a very long resume for sure.
Yeah.
But David, what is your role in the project?
Well, so My role is twofold because we're such a, in the crypto space, it moves very quickly. So I originally in 2016 architected this whole entire system from my experience and my background, realizing that Ethereum was using GPUs, and eventually either those GPUs would become scarcer and scarcer, or something would have to change because game companies want to do that. So, sorry, can you repeat the question? I got kind of sidetracked there for a second.
Oh well, you know what? That question was towards. I believe his name is David CT, right? Because I know Kenneth. Kenneth, you're the CEO, right? Super Genius.
Right.
Your name is Kenneth, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you were
No,
asking Cthulhu what his role was. I got you.
Cthulhu. Oh, okay. I thought you said his name was David. So I'm
It
sorry if
is.
Oh,
It
okay.
is. That's his
Now
role.
I'm just curious, what role does David play in the project?
Oh, so David is kind of our CFO, if you will. He's not really technical, but oh my God, he's a master at figuring out kind of finances and keeping me in check and making sure the multi-sig wallet, the treasury is kept up, and doing investments for other projects we've worked on. So he's fantastic with that, and he's a great writer. So he helps like when we have proposals and things like that, or any marketing and stuff like that. So that's kind of his role in the company.
Pretty much everything, huh? Like an
Yeah, pretty
operations.
much everything else is not technical.
Finance, very important aspect of every single project. So yeah, that's a lot of work. Yeah. So Kenneth, I mean, you have an extensive background, and you mentioned that you guys been working on this project 2016. Now, before we go further in this project, could you let the community know what GPU is? Because I'm very sure that we're going to be talking about GPU through this whole AMA, because that's the underlying technology behind this project here. What is GPU?
Yeah, sure. So a GPU is a graphics processing unit, and that's a chip. So you have your CPU, which is a central processing unit, and a GPU only used to, when they first came out, only operated on pixels in order to display on your screen. So when they first came out, that's all they did was two-dimensional pixels, and they draw pixels on your screen, and then moving around your windows and things like that. And then NVIDIA and 3DFX came in, and they started adding the ability to do 3D rendering on the graphics. And so you push some data up to the graphics processing unit. It processes it and then displays it. So it does a bunch of different things, mathematical transformations on items in the world, like rotation and all kinds of different things using mathematics. And then it projects that down to 2D onto your 2D screen. And that's how 3D graphics work. And the GPU operates all those mathematics in a chip. So it's a lot faster than a separate chip from the CPU. So it's a lot faster to draw those graphics and render those pixels onto your screen. But there's other uses. Since it's a general mathematics processor, it doesn't necessarily have to output the graphics. It can do, and so they realized that, and that's where AI came in, is they're like, hey, we can do mathematics on just data. It doesn't have to be pixels, and do artificial intelligence or machine learning on that data, and just not output it to the graphics screen. We just save it in memory and then ship it back off to the customer. And so that's where things like OpenCL, which is the open compute language, came in, where they can start putting the AI and the machine learning on the graphics processor units. And there's other chips that are coming out recently, like Google just put out tensor chips, and the tensor chips only do AI processing. This thing's called tensor mathematics, and they process only tensors. And then Apple on your new iPhones and the new iMacs or the new Macs put something called the neural network chip, which is separate. It's a third chip basically that only does AI, again, with neural network kind of mathematics on them. So that's kind of what a GPU is. Hopefully everybody understands that now.
Right. And if I remember correctly, GPU back in the day, it was just mainly used to render images and video, correct?
That
But
is
now
correct.
it's no longer limited to graphic processing anymore. Now people are used for, it can use for, computational tasks beyond graphics now. So that's where you see the opportunity, right? And now your project, I'm gonna let you speak on it, but you guys kind of remind me as I'm reading through, the white paper, you kind of remind me of what Uber is doing or what Airbnb is doing, right? Using the existing product out there, capitalize on it and monetizing it, but at the same time, you guys are actually rewarding the people that are actually contributing to the ecosystem, which is actually very interesting.
Yeah, so it no longer the usage of the hardware, no longer the profits no longer go to Google and
Right.
Amazon that are hosting the hardware. Now everybody that's part of the Genius network that owns a device is earning for the usage of their GPU specifically. You mentioned that they've kind of realized. So what ended up happening was Ethereum, of all people, started doing proof of work on graphics processing units, and so that is definitely not graphics processing. And the only difference between what Ethereum's doing or was doing, they switched to proof of stake, but when they were doing proof of work, they were filling the graphics processing unit buffers with random data. And then they would try to cryptographically solve a puzzle, and whoever got closest to the solving the puzzle was able to mine the block. And that's what the work was. And so what I realized back in 2016, after I got involved in Ethereum and I was mining, was, wait a minute, that is really, really similar to artificial intelligence processing. Instead of random data, we feed in cat pictures, right? And then the inference can take another cat picture or a dog picture and say, yes, that's a cat picture. Or if you feed it a dog picture, because of the mathematics, it's like, no, that's not even close to a cat. That's something else. I don't know what it is, but it's not a cat, right? And so that's kind of how inference works in machine learning. And so they're very, very similar. The proof of work that came about on Ethereum is almost identical to doing machine learning processing.
Wow, interesting. Now, you guys want to utilize every single person in the world's GPU, which is graphic processing unit, and monetize that, right? Monetize that and pretty much allow people to earn money. Now, before we go on, tell me like right now, my laptop has GPU, right? My cell phone has GPU, correct? Almost every
Yeah,
single device out there has GPU, correct?
that is correct. Since iPhone 1, they've had GPUs.
Okay. Okay. So your mission is to pretty much have everyone with any sort of device, like I guess what devices let's say can a person have to participate in Genius ecosystem?
iPhone 1 through the current iPhones, Android devices, they can have a Mac OS X device, they can have a Linux device, they can have a PC, a Windows PC, they can have a Raspberry Pi, they can have a Microsoft Xbox in dev mode. So we're cross-platform.
Wow. Okay. So pretty much almost everything out there, correct?
Everything, yes.
Everything.
Except
Okay.
maybe the PlayStation 5, unless you hack it and put it into Linux mode.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. Okay. So you want to use all these. So why do you want to tap into these devices? Like what's the reason for it now? Is it because there's a lot of GPU that's not being utilized? Is that what you guys are doing?
Yeah, correct. And the thing is that one of our competitive advantages on this is that we're leveraging every GPU. And so like, Tau and BitTensor, or Tau BitTensor, and what's the other one? Render is using the GPU. They only use a high-end GPU that are like on Amazon's web servers or on somebody's home PC only. They don't leverage there's like 18 billion devices out there or something like that, and all of them have GPUs. And so they don't tap into that. And the reason that we're poised right now is because if everybody hasn't heard, Sam Altman from OpenAI was asking for $7 trillion to try to build more GPUs, because they're building really high-end GPUs because they want to centralize the GPU that they're using so they can make the money on it, right? And so the problem with that is that there's some political problems going on with Taiwan, and TSMC, the biggest manufacturer of GPUs, might get shut down eventually. And then, so they can't make GPUs fast enough. And that's why NVIDIA's price went through the roof. And if you think about it, he wants $7 trillion because there's so much demand for GPU for AI processing and graphics processing. They're all competing for the GPUs because there's AI, there's GPU, there's games, there's analytics that use GPUs. And so there's just this massive demand, and there's not hardly a 1% supply available to feed all the upcoming AI stuff. And so they're scrambling, and it's going to take years to build up a new chip manufacturing in the US to support all that. And so we started this in 2016 because I knew all these GPUs were just sitting there idle. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know something's going to happen where there's going to be so much demand and not enough supply, and we can fill the supply pretty quickly with our ecosystem. And then the payments happen to decentralized nodes that are everybody around the world. Somebody in Africa that owns a phone that's playing a game is a node in our network and will get paid for Chat GPT needing the resources to be able to, do, or Dolly or any of those AI things. They do not have enough computing power to do it for the world, and they've run into a blockade, or not a block, but just a stair step. They can only do 100,000 users, and they need to do millions of users in order to make a profit. But they're trying to do it where they maintain control of the GPUs so that they don't have to pay out to Amazon or Google or anybody else. And so they're trying to build their own internal GPUs, and that's going to take years to do.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. And you guys look at that model once it's centralized here. You said it kind of reminds me of Facebook and what Google is doing, right? They pretty much centralize your data and pretty much own your data, right? And nobody's getting paid except for them. So you guys look at this model and you guys like, you know what? I'm gonna just empower everyone out there with a device that has GPU, and those people able to participate and earn rewards through your ecosystem by using their untapped or unutilized GPU. That's an ingenious idea. Now, let me ask you this. What percent of GPU on the daily basis, like an average person, that's not, I guess, let's see if I was to play a game, for example, what percent of GPU, an average GPU that's not being used in a normal basis?
So I interviewed with Apple, and because they've optimized for battery life, if you're playing a AAA game on your phone, for instance, it's only using 50% of the GPU. So some AAA games, on a regular PC and stuff like that, will probably use 100% of your GPU. So, but we're not targeting those games. There's 482,000 games on the App Store, I just found out, as of January 2024. 95% of those make $0, and a lot of those are casual, hyper casual games. They probably use 10% of the GPU. So we can actually use the rest of that GPU, or even just another 10%, while they're playing the game. So in the background. So they won't even know that, or they will know because their tokens are going to start increasing, right? The Genius tokens, and thereby they can take that out to fiat currencies and make money in the background. So this is not a play to earn. So you don't have to do anything in the game to earn the tokens. You just play a good game, and it's earning in the background for you. So there's no tie-in directly to the blockchain where they're trying to make money off of you by you hammering on a rock and getting a gem. There's none of that going on. So these aren't really dApps that we're interfacing to. These are regular old applications on the iPhone App Store or the Google Play Store that have integrated with us, and then they open up a monetization channel for themselves, the game developer. They can replace ads, and then they get automatic access to the blockchain if they want it. So taking their tokens out to the public blockchains or their NFTs out to the public blockchains, but it's a no code requirement for them. And so they don't have to develop the typical decentralized app where they have to figure out how to integrate into Ethereum or Solana or any of that. that's all taken away. So I've made it what I call negative friction. The game developer will just take and link to our library, and now they're a node in the network when somebody's playing their game, and they can split the profits from the AI processing with the game player, and they can even sit there and go, okay, game player, you want this NFT? Here, give me back those Genius tokens or my in-game tokens, and you pay for them, and now I got 100% of the profit of the AI processing, and the end user got what he wanted, which is the in-game character or the in-game NFT.
Wow, very interesting. So the barrier to entry or integrate the Genius app is very simple. Is that what you're saying?
It's zero friction. Zero
Wow.
friction. Yeah.
Pretty much like a referral link in a sense.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, you just have to put in. So in coding, you just have to add our library to your to link, and then you can redistribute it on the App Store. That's it. Any game can do this just by linking to our software development kit, which is a library, and then you're off to the races. Now, if you want to extend your game to take your token out to like Ethereum or Solana or even BRC Bitcoin 20s, or your NFTs out, then you have to fill out a form, and then we write to the smart contract. And so you don't really have to do any coding to integrate. And you're not really integrating to the blockchain. What you're doing is you're bridging your game to the blockchain. So you don't have to integrate the blockchain directly inside your game and ruin your gameplay at all. So it's all behind the scenes. And then if you have tokenomics or economics, game economics already built into your game, you don't have to change it. And all these other companies like Immutable X and all that, you have to kind of change your economics in game to try to earn money in the crypto space, right? You have to change the economics. What ends up happening is you ruin the game, because you have to make something where they're pounding on a button on a rock for 10 minutes until they get a gem, and that gem gives them a crypto token, outside. But it's horrendous. And I came from the game industry, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't have to force the economics of cryptocurrency into games and then ruin the gameplay for everybody. And so we've solved that issue. And I call it negative friction because now the game developer can strip out ads and use this as a monetization channel. And it's a frictionless monetization channel for them. They just link and they have a monetization channel. So they can strip out ads too and make their game even better.
Wow. Yeah, that seems very seamless, very easy, very efficient. I like that because I think the barrier to entry, that's gonna be very crucial, but it seems like you guys have solved that issue.
Yeah, and I'm doing a talk tonight at ETH Denver about this, and there's Scale Networks there and a bunch of other ones. And I'm coming from the game industry and doing over 20 games. I know they're doing it wrong, because I wouldn't want to. I worked at NVIDIA for 4 years, and they did it the right way to get adoption. They reduced the friction down to zero. In fact, they reduced it down to negative friction too, because they offered my services to go out and help game developers integrate the new chipset, the NVIDIA GPUs, and they also allowed me, because I had game experience beyond just integrating the GPU stuff, I helped them finish their game on top of it. So they got a free resource out of NVIDIA. And so that's why I call it negative friction. And we're taking the same approach, because that's how NVIDIA won the GPU wars, because they got all the game developers to integrate, and then that was adoption. But they had to pay for me and other game developers to go out and kind of give them some additional incentive to integrate NVIDIA. And they did that. They hired me for like 4 years and a bunch of other game developers. And we spent 4 years doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think you guys, what do you call that? Negative friction? Is that what you call that?
Yeah, I call it negative friction because normally they call it zero friction. Like if it's no code, they call it no code sometimes, but it's zero friction, meaning, hey, developer, if you're going to come in here and I made up that term because it was like everybody went from 100 50% friction, or 2-man weeks, or however many resources you're going to have to spend. That's kind of how much friction it is to get the product released, and it causes friction to game developers because they're like, I just want to finish my game. I don't want to have to worry about blockchain and monetization and ads and all that. And that causes a lot of friction internally with the developers. And so if it's zero friction, you're just linking, that's zero friction. And the reason I call it negative is because now we're giving you something else on top of that. So it's actually, we're removing even more friction that you have from your game development process. And so it's called negative friction because we're removing more friction. If you link to us and you go with our process, you're actually going to have negative friction because we're solving more problems that you have friction with. So
you don't really need no ads and other things.
What's that?
And you don't really need no ads and other things like you mentioned.
Yeah. We strip out that friction. We strip out the friction that you have to do with integrating ads, and end up most of the time, 96.5% of the games on the App Store make $0. And I verified this with an Apple employee about a month ago. I had heard it before, but actually somebody in marketing said she actually saw that on a slide at Apple. That's exactly what it is. 3.5% of the 482,000 games make money. 450,000 or 442,000 games on the App Store make $0. Can you imagine all those games if I give them this and say, hey, just pull your app and link to this, and then all of a sudden you have a monetization channel. 450,000 games. If every one of those guys only have one daily active users, that's 450,000 GPU nodes will be running.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So it looks like you have solved the barrier to entry there. I think that's going to be very crucial for scalability and adoption, right? And also for you to go out there and bring on developers. Now, are games developers, is that your first your target audience right now, like currently?
Only because they have a lot of friction and a lot of demand for some kind of monetization for their games, and so they're going to easily adopt this because they're making $0 right now. In fact, we had two companies a year ago I told about this, and they're like, "We're on board. We have 100 games that aren't making money right now. They make $0." And they're really cool games, and people play them for free, but they don't want to pay for anything. They don't want to watch ads, and so even if they have 100 users, we have 250 games lined up right now, and we haven't even really talked to anybody at the Game Developers Conference about this. And then we were at Permissionless, and we talked with a few people, and we had 10 signups, 10 different companies sign up and say, yes, we will do this because we're not making money now, and you're giving us an opportunity just to a day's worth of work, not even a day's worth of work. There's really no work to integrate this. It's probably like 20 minutes of your time to recompile your code and then fill out a form for your in-game token, and that's it. Now, if you want to transfer your NFTs from your game out to the public blockchain, then there's a couple calls for that, but you don't have to.
So let's say if I come in, I play the game as a player. I guess who's decide the payout wise? Do you let the company, the game developer, decide the payout to the player, or you guys have? Go ahead.
Yeah, I let the game developer do that, but we recommend 70-30, that you pay 70% to the end user and then keep 30% for yourself, because what invariably will happen was the game player, if your game has a system where you want to incentivize them by typically selling an in-app purchase or something like that, then just go ahead and give them 70%, because then when you get to the point, give them 70% of the pay in your token, and then when they are progressing the game and then they hit something, then say, hey, all right, give me some of give me that 70% tokens back, and now the game developer makes 100%. That's what we suggest. Now, it really depends on the game. Let's say a game was completely free, had none of the in-game buys typically, or watch an ad and receive this thing, or any of that. It was just a completely free to play game. You could tell the person, hey, if you want to support me, just so you know, I'm going to earn some money in the background. That way you don't have to see ads anymore. Do you want to opt in for ads, or do you want me to do you want to be ad free? And if you're ad free, then I'm going to take 100% of it, because the game is completely free. There's no in-game items to buy, no in-game items to acquire, and you don't have to watch ads anymore. Can you imagine the game player? I'd opt into that in a nanosecond. Fine, yeah, you take the money. I'm enjoying the game ad free. So it really depends on the game. We leave it up to the game developer. We do suggest the 30/70 thing if you have in-game ads. In-game item purchases or in-game incentives.
Now, I understand that you're going out there, which is crucial to reach out to these games developers for the scalability side of it, right? But with you having a background in the gaming industry and developing games, would you guys also have some games yourself in-house?
Yeah, so I have a game that I've been working on for a few years. It's going to be a sample game. And one of the things you can do with our system underneath is that I'm building a game that basically is a space RPG role-playing game. And so you're this alien and you're going back to repossess some stolen ships, and they've been tearing them apart for the energy part of it. And so inside there's these levels that are generated, and each one of the levels that's generated, like if you want to generate one on your phone, or if you're playing it on the PC, you generate a level, you turn that into an NFT, and then you can take that NFT out to OpenSea and sell it. And then, it's like this really cool level that people are auto creating and setting up, and then, the different spaceship parts and stuff like that. So you create a level, and then you can export that as an NFT and sell it, or, if it becomes on a leaderboard, people will vote on it and things like that. And then you can sell that NFT, and then people can pull it back into the game and then play your level that you've created. So it's a creator. It'll probably have 100 pre-generated levels, and then, people can create them and they can sell them or they can give them away. And so, yeah, we do have one game that's kind of showing off everything you can do with our ecosystem and our private blockchain. So we go well beyond what other people are thinking in terms of Web3 integration. We have our own kind of private blockchain that operates, really, really super fast, but it interfaces to all the other blockchains cross-chain through something called the Axler network.
I see. Interesting. Man, this concept, I love the idea. I love the concept. And I think, this is the only way that you can scale, right? Now, down the line, is there a possibility where an individual doesn't have to go through play a game or etc.? So let's say I have a laptop that's not being used, right? Or I'm just like Billy, I don't play games. Is that something that can actually contribute to your ecosystem to help that, computing resources and be rewarded somehow?
Yeah, so there's several avenues here. So it does not have to be games, for one. And anybody that integrates, let's say we're working with somebody called QE Channel, and they want a streaming service for some Hollywood movies and stuff like that. They want a streaming service like YouTube to put out their own indie movies and things like that. So they don't have to charge you for that. All they have to do is integrate with Genius, and then you can watch a movie, and then you'll get paid for watching that movie, and they can take a slice of it. And so the creators get paid, and then you get paid for watching movies instead of having to pay for watching them. Also, we have a wallet. If you download our wallet, which is basically allows you to trade our tokens or the NFTs that are on our private blockchain and regular public tokens like Ethereum and Solana and Bitcoin, it will ask you if you want to install a service on your PC so that it can sit there in the background, and while it's idle, if you keep it on like I do all the time, while it's idle, it can be it's like mining, but we call it real proof of work. If you go back to the Ethereum proof of work stuff in the AI, and it's very similar, but we can install the service on your PC or your Linux box, and then it'll sit there and operate in the background. And in fact, we've have several people that have told us, hey, why don't you just put this in the sleep app? So like on my iPad, I sleep at night and I have this noise, soothing sound noise thing that goes off so I can sleep. I said, yeah, we can integrate with that. We can integrate with music for that matter. And while you're playing music, the GPU is completely idle, right? And in fact, the sleep app, while it's making sounds, is sitting there plugged in, not draining your battery, and it's not using the GPU at all. And so if you have a sleep app that has it integrated, the only thing on the iPhone and the Android, it's a little more difficult for us to operate in the background unless you're running a particular application. Our wallet application can run, and then it will do the GPU stuff in the background. But there's some application on iPhone because Apple prohibits you from actually using the GPU in the background too much. And so we don't know that that's completely true, but that's what we've been told, that you can't really install a service like that on your iPhone because they're worried about battery drain.
And the wallet is live right now.
No, the wallet is not live right now. We haven't launched. The wallet will launch at the same time as the token launches at the end of March. We have the token launched. We have the token contracts created. We're in a pre-sale right now. And then the official live launch of the network, because we have a private network that supports that private token, is at the end of March. Hopefully during the Game Developers Conference, we'll have a live, everything will go live right then. So that's really the token launch. The token itself is out there in the smart contract, but the supporting Super Genius network, the private network that takes those tokens to do the AI processing, hasn't quite launched yet.
See, wow. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Actually, I'm actually really liking what I'm hearing. So pretty much, every single device out there, every individual out there is able to contribute into the computing resources and be rewarded for it, whether you're playing games, eventually whether you're watching a movie, whether you're sleeping, pretty much, right? So if your device is sitting there not doing anything, you can literally integrate into Genius AI ecosystem and earn rewards.
Yep, absolutely. And even better, for your audience is that while you're doing that and earning money, you can actually help cure cancer, because there's this thing called protein folding, and they use AI and ML to try to figure out these protein foldings that actually kills cancer, or maybe it's the protein in the cancer. I'm not exactly sure, but it's called folding at home. And they use a lot of AI infrastructure, and they're a nonprofit, and they have to still pay Google and Amazon and everybody else to use their GPUs for the AI processing. We can charge in NFTs, so we can give away our Genius token to them, because, or as close to zero as you want to be, because we're trading the AI and the GPU processing for what I call perceived value, not US dollar value. Like if somebody wants that in-game item, you don't need to translate that into US dollars. You can translate that into, I want that in-game NFT so bad. Okay, well, we're going to process a gigabyte of AI data. Don't translate that to dollars. Translate it to the amount of AI processing you can do to help cure cancer. Right? So there's no US dollar value. Of course, you can take them out to US dollars if you want to, eventually, but it really doesn't kind of matter to us what we charge for the AI processing, because there's no translation to US dollars. So we can slide our US dollar equivalent to whatever we want. We can charge 0.0001 of a penny, which translates into your NFT. But in terms of dollars, right, it really doesn't matter, because there's so many transactions going on, so much AI processing going on, that will ramp to, $100, $500 eventually, because of so many, the demand for GPU usage and the GPU compute side of things. So we have that. And then on top of it, we put in a burn mechanism so that the price of Genius should always increase, because we burn 10% of the tokens that are getting transferred into US dollars, so that the rest of the holders of the Genius token, their price goes up by 11.3%. Because if you burn 10%, like if you had 1 million tokens out there and you burn 10% of them, there's only 900,000 tokens, but your market cap, let's say it was at $1 and it was at $1 million. So those 900,000 people now have $1 million worth of market cap. And so it's kind of the mathematics work out where it's 11.5% in the increase of the token value for the rest of the 900,000 holders of that token. And so that's just the way math works in terms of when you burn. And so we have that burning mechanism in there as well. And we have a minting mechanism so that, like, if somebody comes in and they want to do AI processing, and now the token was at, say it was at $1, and now it's at $1.11 because the burn happened. Somebody comes in and they're like, hey, we want to mint some new tokens to do some AI processing. Okay, fine. Mint new tokens is at $1.11. Right? And so then they do the AI processing and they say, that whole million, another 100,000 or another million tokens wanted to get, or another 10% wanted to get burned. So it feeds back on itself. And now they do the AI processing, people pull out their money in US dollars, and we burn 10% of the tokens. Now that it increases 11.5% again. And so this is constant feedback of burning and minting, but at new and higher prices that kind of keep the token price going up at all times. We purposely built that in and did a Monte Carlo analysis on that to make sure we could continually try to increase the price. And we've limited, you have to think about Bitcoin, like Bitcoin halving, right? We have that built in on every transaction. So we're doing that in smaller chunks constantly. And we only have 50 million tokens that are available across all chains, all multi-chain. The total amount of tokens of Genius tokens is 50 million. That's it. And our initial issuance is only going to be 21 million. The rest of that is buffered so that if we get too much demand coming in from AI processing companies, we can mint more. It's just to kind of balance it so it doesn't just shoot through the roof, within a day or two. And so it slowly kind of feeds back on itself so that we can make sure we can keep up with demand for AI processing from people and not tap out and saturate our network at the same time.
Okay, good. I was gonna say if you guys have any kind of like protocol in place to ensure that the minting process does not get out of hand. So that would be the only scenario there where you guys will be minting, right? When a company wants to come in and buy or mint the tokens for the developments, correct?
Yeah, well, but you have to think about this is like if you own, let's say you had 1 million tokens, right? And then AI comes in and goes, okay, well, it's at $1.11, to mint. Okay, well, this guy over here has 1 million tokens. He'll sell it to me for $1.10, right? A penny under that. So we don't have to mint anything, right? And when he sells those, though, we burn some of the tokens, and now that $1.10 is now, $1.20. So yeah, it just is. It is a protocol that has a burn and a mint mechanism, and then people selling and things like that. And we did the Monte Carlo analysis where, certain percentage was selling, and certain people we had to mint some to kind of keep it from, really getting out of control and saturating the network. But it's all dependent on, like, if somebody had 1 million tokens and they wanted to sell to somebody, we don't have to mint anything. But it still drives the price up after they sell their tokens. And but you have to realize, for me as a person, if I saw that and I'm like going, wait a minute, if I sell this to him for $1.10, right? And then the price is going to go up to $1.20 because he wants to do all this AI processing. Heck with that. I'm going to wait for him to mint new tokens and then wait for him to burn so that my new price is $1.20. Then maybe I'll sell them, right? Maybe. It depends on the demand of AI. If there's nobody demanding AI, or there's a limited supply of minting available, then maybe I will sell them to them. Just depends on where I want to exit and exit. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that when people buy Genius tokens that they're ever going to exit, because if you think about it, the burning and all that, you're getting paid out in there's no staking. Is if you own Genius tokens, it's increasing in price because of the burning and the minting. So why would you ever want to get out of that? Maybe you need cash or something. But in general, as long as you hold that Genius token, it's ever increasing in price. There's no staking involved because we're taking the transactions that are happening and rewarding people for the whole entire network of transactions that's going on, including NFT trades, AI processing, machine learning processing, and even token trades. The whole ecosystem, you're getting reward. It's like if you owned a Visa card, and for every transaction on the Visa network, they paid you a percentage of it. You would never have to charge on your Visa card, right? Because you're just earning all these rewards because you own a Visa card. And so that's the kind of model that we've taken, that the network, whoever owns the Genius tokens, just will continuously earn interest on those tokens. It's not really interest. It's rewards for the network operating completely. It's like if you're a miner, you always get rewards, right? Or you're a staker, you get rewards. Well, this is everybody that owns a token. You don't have to be a staker. You don't have to be a miner. It's every single person.
I see. Now, is there any are there taxes within your tokenomics, the in and out?
Yeah. So the 10% we actually take on the front end when somebody comes in and mints the tokens, we take a 20% of that mint value and then farm it out. And we use 10% of that to burn, and then the other 10% of it we use for operations a little bit, but we also use for gas costs, so that we can, like, if you want to take your tokens out of the Super Genius network and you want to put it on Ethereum network, that's very expensive. But what we've done is we roll up 1,000 transactions at once. So we've taken the new technology, ZK Snarks and the ZK rollups that ZK EVM does and other blockchains have done, and we roll up 1,000 transactions at once. But we also take some of that money that we've had. It's not really a tax. It's more to pay for your gas when you want to extract stuff out and put it in gas pools. And there's a little bit for us. I mean, of course, to maintain the network and make profit. But I own a huge amount of Genius tokens, so I'm going to make profit on that as well, personally. So, and then there's a tax. I wouldn't call it a tax, but like if you're using our trading application and you want to trade Ethereum for like Bitcoin, right? We don't really tax you. What we do is we reduce the price difference by 2.5%. And so it's kind of a tax, but then you don't pay gas. So we use some of that 2.5% to add to the pools so that you don't pay gas when you're trading Ethereum and Bitcoin. So we pay for the gas basically out of the pools. And so that little 2.5%, like if you bought, let's say you bought 100 Ethereum and you'd pay like $25, to buy 100 Ethereum or trade 100 Ethereum for something else, it's really expensive right now. We roll up 1,000 transactions at once, but we take a small percentage of everybody's 2.5% because you'd pay a lot more than 2.5% in gas costs. So what we do is say, hey, instead of you paying 100 Ethereum plus another 25 of Ethereum, to get your Bitcoin, we just say, hey, you're only gonna get 97.5% or $97.5 instead of putting in $125. You're only gonna get $97.5 for that, one Ethereum or whatever it is that you're trading. So $100 worth of Ethereum. So that's kind of how we operate. It's not really a tax. I mean, it is a little tiny bit of a tax, but it's more like if you traded on Uniswap, the percentage, the slippage that you get. And we do that to cover the gas fees, so you never have to worry about the pain. It's been such a pain in my rear end all these years trying to figure out, gosh, do I have enough? I'm going to send $100 worth of Ethereum. Oh, sorry, you need $125 worth of Ethereum in order to send $100 worth of Ethereum, right? I hate that. It's like, no, make it gas free somehow. And so we integrated that into our wallet. So we take a little bit of a tax doing it there. And then on the front end, we take a little bit of tax to maintain the network and the burn rates. So it's somewhat of a tax, but not really.
That could be a marketing genius as well, right? Feeless swap, right? That could attract a lot of people to the platform. So I know I see your angle there as well.
Yeah, Scale does that, but I don't even know how Scale makes money. I mean, I think they must do the same thing because they have centralized servers that have to do their proof of stake and their proof of work stuff, and they have to support that somehow. They have to support the engineers that are on that, and so you can't you can't do it, and or else you go out of business. You're just losing money for years and years and years on doing those trades. I don't know.
Right. No. Yeah. No. I mean, it's the money's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we take the money from is the AI processing companies that want to pay us in US dollars. That's where we get the money from, right? And then we pay you out as well, so you get rewarded. So there's none of that. We don't have to worry about transacting on a public blockchain, because every node, everybody that's playing a game or everybody that has Genius installed is the network. So it's completely decentralized. These other people that say they're DPINs, the decentralized physical infrastructure networks, they're not true DPINs. They're centralized with the miners or the stakers, and those are the people that are making money. That's the same model as Google, or Amazon. But now you're just staking with a few other people that have high-end GPUs. And there's billions of people out in the world that don't have high-end GPUs sitting on their computer. So they're really centralizing the payouts, and we're not. We are the only completely decentralized platform that I know of.
Interesting. So you guys 100% DPIN, 100% decentralized infrastructure.
That's right. Yep.
I mean, I think that is the only way. Ultimately, I think that's where we're heading. I think that is the only way moving forward. So how do you see the AI and the ML machine learning in the future here? I mean, apparently we all heard of ChatGPT. What is your take on the growth of this? I mean, it's apparent why you are setting this infrastructure up to capitalize with the technology of where AI and ML is heading. Where do you foresee this AI and ML going?
Well, so AI and ML is a tool, right? And it can be misused and it can be done for good. And our goal for our infrastructure was, we call ourselves AI for good, because I really want to cure cancer, solve electricity problems or energy problems. It can do all that. It can also be used for evil, though. So, we can't control what, evil actors want to do with AI. There's no controlling that, because anybody can run on a computer. They can run malicious software. They can run anything that they want to do malicious things. There's no controlling that. So to sit there and think that the U.S. government is going to control AI and ML, you got to combat it with good, right? And that's the only thing you can do. You can use AI to combat itself, really, and combat the malicious actors. And so that's kind of our goal. But really, my end game is just to focus on solving real world problems for good, the good of humanity. And so if I continue to focus on that, and they come in and they're starting to do their evil things, I'm just going to try to outshine the good things we're doing.
And honestly, if I can jump in quickly here, the potential for the marketplace of AI/ML in the next 6 years or so, it's expected to basically 10x. So by 2030, the global valuation of the AI/ML market is expected to be something like $2 trillion. So even if we only were to capture, say, 1% of that, which I think is under optimistic, precisely because Genius.AI, it has no overhead costs, it has no electricity costs, it doesn't pay for maintenance or hardware or security of physical server locations, or even real estate costs for localizing high-end GPUs. So the ability to offer compute at such a cheaper value, I expect us to get much more market capture than that. But even just using a 1% number, the valuation of this company in 6 years would be 20 billion. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because pretty much every field is going to get revolutionized by AML in healthcare, medical diagnoses, new discoveries of novel drugs, novel antibiotics, personalized medicine, genetic medicine, in finance, fraud detection, risk management, high-speed trading, algo trading, in manufacturing, predicting infrastructure, maintenance, optimization of storage and distribution of goods for sales, In gaming, we've discussed gaming quite a bit, and even in sort of personal assistance, lifestyle planning, having a companion AI on your cell phone in the field of counseling or companionship. I expect that field to grow immensely in every direction. And so the market opportunity is truly vast. There's so many opportunities that we haven't mentioned most of them. I mean, we went over gaming, we went over sleep, we went over installing it directly into your device, we went over streaming, but really it can work with any company that has a retail-facing application. It could function well with a smart gymnasium or with Starbucks, where you want to order your coffee and then go pick it up and get a cheaper price because you're on the way to go get your drink. So the market opportunity is apparently limitless.
Right, right. You know, you got analytics, right? You got the auto industry as well, right? Those are, I mean,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
almost every industry under the sun.
When you talk about analytics, you're right. I mean, it's pretty much everyone, everyone. Now, besides the game, have you guys currently right now, from B2B, business to business, right? Do you have any like main sector or industry that you want to target, to go pitch to or to onboard, currently?
Yeah, so actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I got pinged on LinkedIn to meet somebody here, and believe it or not, he already has about 1 million users lined up for his medical application, and he needs an infrastructure underneath. And he's been talking with all the guys here, like Adara at East Denver, and they can't handle the transactions he need to handle. So one of the things about the decentralization that happens that falls out of this is that we scale linearly, and everybody else scales in stair-step fashion. So they'll scale, like they can scale 100,000 users, and then they have to build all the hardware or get the GPUs lined up and line up the stakers and acquire miners and GPUs, right? And so they stagnate for like 6 months until they can build it up to the next 100,000, right? The decentralization, we have none of that problem, because it's like, okay, how many games are online? We're going to have such excess capacity that, you know, with everybody integrating into this, that we can fill up the demand, or hopefully we can fill up the demand. If we fill up all the demand that's going on right now for AI and processing, we'll take 80% of that $2 trillion, right? Where everybody else is kind of, oh, we'll take 100,000 of them, then we'll take the next 100,000 6 months later, and that's the stair-stepping effect. And we scale linearly, straight up. It's like, well, how much do you need? Okay, we have all those nodes available. Oh, if we don't, another game launched and it has 1 million users on it, or he has 1 million users on his medical application. Okay, now we have 1 million nodes in our network. And so we scale linearly where nobody else does, because we're completely decentralized, and that's the beauty of DeepHit.
100%, 100%. Kind of like what I said to you guys earlier before this AMA, kind of reminds me of what Uber is doing, right? Airbnb is doing. You guys are literally utilizing the existing product out there, which is pretty much every single device in the world, and leveraging that, right? And paying people to participate. I think that's an ingenious idea,
Yeah,
especially
and I
with.
will. Yeah, and I will add one thing to that is, if you think, you know, everybody says, oh, what about Akash and BitTensor and all those guys? Well, they're going for the high end commodities, and so that's a limited supply, right? We have well, I mean, 18 billion. I mean, it's not quite unlimited, but 18 billion different devices that we can access, and their GPUs. I would bet that they probably have less than 1 million devices to split among all the different people that are leveraging it. And so we have access to 18 billion. They have access to maybe 1 million high-end devices, right? And those million high-end devices are only about 10x more effective than one of the GPUs on an iPhone today. So in reality, we have access to, even if you took 18 billion and you divide it by 10, we have 1.8 billion devices compared to their 1 million. And so they're
Right.
limiting themselves because of the hardware, right? And that's what happens, is they can't scale because they're only tapping into the high-end devices.
Yeah, you guys have more volume for sure, 100%. It's business 101, right? It's kind of like, you either charge a very high price, very limited client, or you charge less and you have wide range of clientele. So no, I definitely see the business model here. Now, currently, right now, how many games or how many games developers are you guys have onboarded already?
Well, so yeah, we have about 250 games with 3 developers lined up, and they've been lined up for about a year. They're just waiting for the last part of this, which we're working on here at ETH Denver and back home to finish up in the next week or two before the Game Developers Conference. So we have 250 games lined up, and we did a little math, back of the napkin math calculation. If each one of those only had 100 daily active users, which is super low for any game, 100 daily active users, nobody's playing your game at all, really. We instantly have 25,000 nodes in our network to offer to medical companies or any of the things that Cthulhu mentioned about there. So we'll almost instantly on launch, within a week or so, because all they have to do is link and then relaunch the product. We'll have 25,000 nodes in our network instantly. So that's just a start. And that we haven't even talked to anybody at the Game Developers Conference yet. And with 482,000 games that aren't, or 440,000 games that aren't making money, and 25,000 people, developers at the Game Developers Conference, how many do you think is going to sign on when they find us? I would guarantee all of them.
Right, now that leads to my next question. What is the pitch or the marketing strategies going out there? What is the strategy going out there? Like you say, 400-something thousand games out there, and that's not earning any money. You guys have an infrastructure in-house to go out there and raise awareness to Genius AI?
Yeah, we do. There's just few of us. Me specifically going out to permissionless. Like I said, I got like 10 developers coming up to the booth. We have a booth at Game Developers Conference, so we'll hit about 25,000. I'm doing a talk in a few hours here at ETH Denver on how to scale Web3. There's about 60 VCs there and about 400 other Web3 and game developers that are going to attend that. And so I'm doing kind of the dog and pony shows out at different places to talk about this because, and then Cthulhu David's going to be joining me at the Game Developer Conference, I think. We have another guy, we have a few other guys. And then we're also pushing it very heavily on Discord and Twitter and here as well. I mean, this is kind of one of our pushes is this AMA. And then we have a pre-sale out right now just to get the community. I'm big on getting community involved early on before I attract VCs because I'm having VCs venture capital ping me at this conference very heavily. They're reaching out to me, which is kind of a good space to be in and asking for meetings with me. And usually you have to chase them, but they understand this deep end stuff and what's coming up. So that's what we're doing all over the place. We started this marketing campaign about a month and a half ago, I'd guess. And we're just completely wrapping it up right now, between now and launch at the end of March. So yeah, we got the word out. We have a video out. We're going to probably start doing advertising, different areas and things like that. So yeah, that's what we're doing this AMA for, is to kind of get the word out as well.
Awesome. Now, I did see that you have a patent. Let's speak on that. Very interesting. Now, is that a provisional patent or is that an actual utility patent?
So, all right, this is an interesting conversation because it's an actual utility patent and it got issued in 2022. So in 2018, when I figured out Ethereum was doing proof of work that could be used really for AI processing, I started architecting the system and the patent. And then I patent pending it in 2019, January 2019. And so then it COVID took a little bit longer because everybody was shut down. The patent office took a couple more years than they should have to issue the patent, but it got issued in 2022. So it's an actual patent. The funny thing about it, it's called a compute infrastructure with a cryptocurrency payment system. And about a month ago, somebody pings me on Twitter and said, "Hey, did you know you're a DPIN?" I said, "I have no idea what that means." So I went and looked, and we started talking, and it turned out it's a decentralized physical infrastructure network is what DPIN stands for. And I had no idea. And I go and I look back at my patent, and the first actual diagram in the patent is a DPIN. It's a complete architecture of a decentralized physical infrastructure network. So we just happened to be developing what I thought was going to be the next phase in cryptocurrency and what's going to take over the world and disrupt the industry, both in artificial intelligence and physical infrastructure networks. And it just so happens that somebody put a label on it, a couple months ago or a year ago, and we just keeps happening to us. We started the AI processing, and then everybody's like, "Oh, AI in the blockchain." Oh yeah, we've been doing that since 2016. Oh yeah, that's Web3 games integrating with the blockchain. Okay, yeah, we've been doing that since 2021. We have our product almost ready to go for all that you're talking about. Okay, now DPIN's the big thing. Yeah, we're a DPIN.
And it's already on your patent, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and we already have it patented. So what that actually stemmed from, which should really tickle everybody's fancy, for lack of a better term, is that I ran a public company, and I didn't want to get in trouble with Gary Gensler and SEC like XRP did, right? And this was before XRP got sued. And so I knew right away that I needed to make this a utility patent and to make sure it never became a security. And so that's, if you think about it, a security, if your token doesn't have utility, then they think they can consider it a security. But since we have a utility patent, it's really hard for the government to argue that we don't have utility because we have a utility patent, right? So how are they going to say you're a security because you have no utility? Well, wait a minute, we got a utility patent that shows the utility, and you put the rubber stamp on it that it was a utility patent. You can't sue us for that. And then I've done some other steps to make sure that we didn't violate any SEC kind of rules and things like that with something called the Howey test. So I kind of, put a lock on the fact that I don't think we would ever be sued for, securities problems and securities issues. And so that should tickle everybody's fancy. Is I took great pain to make sure we never, the Genius token would never get hammered like XRP and some of the other ones that got hammered just because the SEC sued them. And there's other things we've done to take steps and to ensuring that our protocol doesn't get shut down.
Yeah, I'm actually very familiar with the Howey test. I actually studied that thing in depth, right? And just being like, because we're in USA, right? And it's necessary. So I'm glad that you went through the necessary steps to ensure that the project is 100% decentralized. But yeah, actually on the topic, I think Richard Hart is going to win, right? So as you know, Richard Hart hired the best 10 lawyer in the country fighting the SEC. I believe that he's actually going to win. That's the reason why. Yeah, so I hope so.
I believe it too. I believe XRP is going to win too, and all that. I mean, it's already kind of in the writing, and they passed the Bitcoin ETFs, pressure from the courts. So Gary's just, I don't know if I should say this on. I call him Gensler and his goons.
I agree with you. But no, congrats on the utility patent. That takes it's a long process to receive that. A lot of people come on the AMA, or I've seen it before, where it's a provisional patent and they claim it as to be a utility patent, and it's not really a patent until you get an actual utility patent, which what you have. So that's an actual patent that is actually given out by the government. So congrats on that.
Yeah, it was a long process, but I wrote the patent 100% myself, by the way, and then I had
no way. Even the utility, even the whole research process and everything.
Yeah, I did everything. So there wasn't much research to be done because it was in 2016, 2017, and it was like nobody kind of knew what cryptocurrency, hardly, it was just starting cryptocurrency, and people were like, I don't know, so there wasn't much to find. Let's put it that way. I did a lot of research, and I wrote 100% of the patent itself, and then I gave it to a patent attorney who moved the images down to the bottom and then filed the patent.
I actually wrote a provisional patent, but I had my attorney revised and did the utility. But yeah, that's a whole different story. But no, that's actually very hard to get in the United States. So congrats on that. So it took you what, like around 3 years just to get it?
Yeah, it took about 3 years. Let's see. I think well, I mean, I started writing the patent in about June of 2018 or so, and then I filed the provisional patent because I was doing other things too. I was coding on Genius, right? So I mean, I can't just spend 100% of my time writing the patent, and I was doing some architecture stuff to figure out, what to put into the patent. And so I filed the patent pending in January of 2019. And then the issue date is on my LinkedIn profile, but I think it was somewhere in like September 2022. So really, if you think about it, it's about a 3-year process. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I want to make sure that community understand that's actually an actual utility patent, not just a provisional. So that's actually
Well,
really
what's
awesome.
even what if you think about it, a lot of the people that are out right now are actually in violation of the patent. I mean, Akash is, Tau BitTensor is, everybody that's doing compute stuff is in violation of my patent right now. And I'm not going to go after them, right? But it's like, everybody's like, oh, so I call us the mother of depins, but that's more of because we're the scale. We're 100% decentralized. We're the mother, the mother lode, if you will, of decentralization. But everybody keeps taking that the wrong way, thinking I invented depin. I'm not claiming that. I'm claiming that we have specifically set out to be the mother effer of depins, meaning that we are really 100% decentralized and for different compute infrastructures, right? And with cryptocurrency payment integration. And so that's why I call it the mother of all depins, not that we were the founders or the original originators of all that.
Right. Okay, let's talk about your pre-sale. So right now, you're currently on Gempad now. Is this the only round that you guys can be raising?
I think so. I'm debating about that. There's been some people that were saying that maybe because this round has already we've hit the soft cap, I may just completely go on a centralized exchange. We're talking with L Bank and BitSmart, and so we'll probably go on both those so that we can hit round the world markets for this. But when it does go out, I plan on issuing it at $5 a share or a token, because we're only going to have 21 million outstanding, and so that gives us 100 million market cap. And BitTensor and Render and all those guys are 3 billion market cap. So I figure 100 million market cap is pretty fair. It's pretty low, right? And then we'll see where the token goes from there. Because if you think about it, BitTensor went from like 12 cents to like $600. I don't know what they're at today, but in 9 months. So I figure $5 at $100 million market cap is pretty fair because we only have 50 million total possible tokens, but our market cap's only going to be 100 million when we go out on a centralized exchange. And that way I can kind of watch it, go up, and people realizing, that they can make money on the $5, right and left. They're making interest on that, even if they pay $5 for the token, and they start to see the payments coming in and the burning coming in. That's going to really, drive the price up pretty quickly. And so we could, it's conceivable that we could be, a couple $2 billion market cap, which, I don't know what the multiplier is. 20 times 5, 20 times 100 million. Is that 2 billion? Maybe that's only 200 million. No, that's 2 billion, I think. 20 times $5, all of a sudden, you're now $100 token.
Honestly, the upside, if it does end up trading at par with others, might even be more, because BitTensor is, at the moment, I think they're close to 12 or 13 billion. So from 2 million to 13 billion it's a significant multiplier.
Yeah, and they're operating on high-end GPUs and very limited supply of them. So I don't know why they have that kind of, I don't know why they have that kind of market cap. It's just crazy to me. But that's the crypto space for you.
100%.
Yeah, even half of what they're making, right? Half of what their market cap is right now. I think I'll be happy with that.
A tenth of it. Come on. If they're at 1 or 2 billion, if we're at 1 or 2 billion market cap, I'll be very happy with that. That's like 20x your money in like 2 months.
But yeah, no, I will pin. It looks like I do see a 10% referral through Gempad, which is a thing that Gempad just rolled out through the evolution. So I'll grab a link through it and I'll pin it. And the project has reached a soft cap already. Currently, right now at 37 ETH. And I think the hard cap is 340, but it still have what? How many days? How many days you
So
guys have
March
left?
5th. Yeah. So
March
what
5th.
we do is we launched it a little bit early so I could start talking to VCs and these game companies here tonight, basically. And so to show them, and I have cards and QR codes set up for all them. But I set it up early or just before ETH Denver because I wanted the community to get in before I start talking to these VC guys. They're actually approaching me to do token warrants, which is a little bit different than this. But it's opened up at Ethereum Denver to get all the degens from here to start coming in. So, I hopefully the cap won't, fill up in the next day or two. So that you can't get in because I'm talking to 60 VCs tonight in about 2 hours. Actually, I start talking with them.
No, your sales will pick up. I'm not sure why. Usually, when you have like far out, like 3, 4, 5, 6 days, people usually wait to the very last day. That's just how it is. Every single project I've seen it. So
What's funny about it might be too late though.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys get in early there. All right, well, it's been an amazing AMA. I love the idea. I love the concept. Not financial advice, but I'm actually going to be one of the investors of the project, 100%. I just love the decentralization. I just love how you guys are utilizing every single device in the world out there to help aid with the AI and ML computing process. That's the way to do it instead of going through like Amazon or Google. That's 100% centralized, right? And so what this company is doing over here is 100% decentralized, and they want to leverage every single device out there. But not only that, but you guys able to participate and get paid within the ecosystem, even if you're not utilizing, not playing game or just having your laptop or your device just sitting there. There are ways for you guys to participate to earn money. So I think that's actually ingenious. So it's very clever. You guys came up with this concept.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because it's kind of like staking, but it's not really. What the staking is like, hey, install the service on your computer. It's not really, staking your cash. It's like staking your GPU, right?
Right. Yeah, and when you think about it, I mean, just the number that you're telling me, like, what do you say? Only 10%, usually 95% of the games out there, that's only utilized like 10.
I did a
Crazy.
calculation this morning, and I found out that it's 400 games account for 20% of the market. So there's like 1.8 billion apps, or 1.8 million apps. Because there's and 20%. No, there must be more than that because 20% of the apps on the App Store are games, and so you have to multiply 440,000 was the number of games on the App Store, and so there's additional apps. There's over a million. There's over 10 million or something like that apps. Whatever that number works out to be, I could probably do a quick calculation. So it's 5 times 2 million apps are out there on the App Store. And 96.5% of those make zero money. And so not only are there 440,000 game apps that don't make money, there's another 1.6 million apps, regular old apps like video apps or cartoon apps or whatever it is, painting apps or whatever, that make $0.
That's crazy. That's insane.
And that's just on the Apple App Store, by the way. That doesn't count the Google Play Store.
Wow. Yeah, so I think the idea is there. The concept is there. I think, I think the idea is great, incredible, actually. So I think your biggest hardship, I think the challenge, I won't say hardship, but the challenge is that to get the word out, right? To get the idea, get the Genius mission out there. So I'm not sure if you guys have any kind of video made already where it's efficient, get to the point, where developers can go in there, just watch the video and able just to get the idea immediately.
No, we're going to work on that for the developers, but we do have a generalized kind of marketing video that's pretty cool that kind of shows the opportunity that Genius presents to the world and into the different areas. It's about a 2.5-minute video or something on YouTube. You can go to the Genius.AI YouTube channel, and it's right there. I put it up on there. It's also on our main website. It's the kind of marketing video for that. And we will do a kind of a we have docs up though for developers at Doxxed.GNUS.AI that is really kind of lays out the whole entire ecosystem in the project, and so developers can easily get in there. And we'll have some more marketing, because if you really think about it, they're going to ask, how do you integrate? And we're going to say, you link to our thing, and they're like, wait, what? That's all I have to do? So there's not really any, because we've reduced it to zero friction, there's not really any video that we need to make or anything like that for them to integrate with our system.
Right, and you also have the consumer side, or I guess the regular people side as well, right? So I think that's actually a crucial point as well. The very important aspect of the project as well is everyone's able to pretty much utilize their device and earn rewards. Everyone has a device nowadays, so I think that side of it too.
Yeah, so and the thing is, we don't have to get customer acquisition that route, though. We just have to get developers acquisition, right? And then their customers that are playing their game are automatically acquired by us. So we don't really have to go out to the end user consumer. So the developer acts as our business partner and our customer at the same time.
But didn't you say, Kenneth, didn't you say that your wallet eventually you will have a sign-on thing where I can plug my unused device, or my device is sitting on my desk, that I can actually tap into your ecosystem and earn rewards as well, though?
Yeah, those are just additional partners. You become a partner basically in the network. And so those are just people that, crypto people that want to earn rewards. That's kind of probably a small fraction of the partners that will be acquired, people that are in crypto. So we're going for like every single potential app user and computer user beyond just, crypto people that, know about wallets and trade crypto, right? Because that's actually a very small amount of the overall partnerships and the nodes that will be in our network. So we can market to them, and we are marketing to them. Like, I'm at ETH Denver right now, and I'm talking to everybody about it. So we are marketing to them, but in the grand scheme of our network, that is probably going to be, I would guess, less than 5% of our partners that have the nodes that are operating. Is my guess.
Because I think if I know your project and I have a device, like I have a few laptops, right, and it's not really being used for a lot of different things, really. And I don't play games, right? But if I know that there's a project out there where all I have to do is just download the wallet and let it sit there. I don't know what the percentage of people in the space, in crypto space, but it's got to be big, right? It's got to be big. And I think there's a lot of people out there just like myself, just have, few cell phones and few devices just sitting there. If I can plug your wallet into my system, or my laptop to your system and earn rewards, I think there's a huge demographic to that as well.
Yeah, there was, because there's this thing called SETI at home that was like 15 years ago, where people would install SETI at home and it would try to analyze signals from space to see if there's any alien communication. It's called SETI at home, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And there was a lot of people that installed that on a couple 100,000 people installed that on their computer. And this was like 15 years ago, when, computers were, not as prevalent as they are today, for sure.
Right. Awesome. Now, I'm assuming that you're talking to a lot of VCs that your token, your pre-sale token, I assume that it has vesting period on there?
Yes, it does. It has a 6-month vesting period. 20% opens up when we put it on the decentralized exchange. And so I think we're going to probably put it out on the DEX at $2.50, $2.50, and we're only going to do that as a temporary thing, so that the people that vest the 20% right away, and then the 80% of it goes over 6 months, that they can have some liquidity in the market while we convert to a centralized exchange on the bigger one and go out at $5. But it's just my plan is to put it out on the decentralized exchange, like I said, at $2.50 or somewhere around there, and then go out on the centralized exchange at $5.
See, you guys are in talks with a few centralized exchanges?
Yeah, we're talking with Bitmart and LBank.
Wow, okay, yeah. LBank is pretty big, Bitmart as well. Actually, a partner with, I believe both of them. All right. Well, I love the idea, Kenneth, David. I think your concept is great, and I really much look forward to your journey and see how this turns out. I think with your extensive background, not only in developer, but also in game industry as well, and you have a patent, so I think that's a
yeah, I got a lock. Nobody's gonna shut me down.
Yeah, well, it's been a great chat. It's been a great chat. After this, I'm gonna pin all the information in our rooms. We do have the official room, and we do have a chat room as well. And I'm gonna get a referral link. So if you guys want to buy into the project, click on the referral link. Or even if you guys go on to Gempad, guys, you guys can literally create your own referral link and earn 10%. You can do the marketing for this project and earn 10%. I think this is the latest update in Gempad. You can do that. And I think this is actually one of the project that I see actually with 10% rewards for you guys. So there's big incentive for you guys to go out there and talk about Genius AI. And I'm not saying that just because it's there's a big rewards fees, right? But I think the concept is actually great. It's a great idea. And I really enjoy great project and with great people behind it. I always invest in people, and I think this team is actually legit. Any last word for us, Kenneth or David?
Not for me, but go ahead, David.
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the space. Thank you for taking the time to have this conversation with us and help us share the news around. It's been a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you for me too.
Yeah, thank you guys. So you guys been here. That means that you guys have a full support no matter what. If you guys want to come in and say, hey, there's an update, Seattle, can you pin this for me? We're more than happy to do it for you guys, as long as you guys are a legit project, which you guys are 100% legit from what I can see. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, you guys have a full support going forward. Just let us know how we can further help you guys, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you guys. So this time here, I'm going to go ahead and do a giveaway. I'm just going to pick a random number, guys. We're actually running over an hour and a half now. We do have a lot of questions inside the room. So I'm just going to pin their TG. If you guys have any questions, you guys can go over there and be part of the community, ask questions there. But for those who are here listening right now, I'm just going to pick one person really quick here. Actually, Kenneth, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Could you pick one person that's listening to us right now? Just one, any name. For a $20 winner.
How many people are on here? I'm going to pick a number between 1 and that, and I'll scroll down and see who that is. So
right now we have 138 people listening right now. So just okay, anyone, and that'll be a $20 winner.
Okay, so let's pick 74. I don't know why I picked 74. Oh my God, I got to count down 74. No, I'm gonna scroll down until I think I'm about 74. All right,
yeah,
Charlie
just pick
Brown.
a name.
Charlie Brown.
All right, Charlie Brown, congratulations. Thanks for listening to this AMA. All right, guys, when I open up the room, there's 138 people listening. We're going to go do another $10, just random number, okay? 5 guesses only, 1 to 200. 5 guesses only, okay? Random number. And I will pin the TG, the Telegram. If you guys go over there, if you guys just give a good, meaningful feedback. Okay, do not spam. Do not throw a bunch of stickers on there. Just give a nice, meaningful feedback, and Mike or Johnny will go over there and pick a winner as well, $10 winner as well. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, David and Kenneth, and thank you everyone here for listening. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
Great weekend, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.